Today we will move ahead with the steps in ABC. Steps in ABC. So, there are around 7 steps in ABC. First step, to identify the different activities within the organization. First, what do? We identify the activities. As we already understood yesterday, the first thing in ABC costing is that we identify the activities. What activities are involved? Right. Then we did in ABC the number of activities will be much more. Of course, the organization which has many activities will only opt for ABC costing. If it has very few activities, say 1 or 2, then it will generally opt for traditional costing, right? To determine what causes the cost of each activity, the cost drivers, then we will identify what? Identify cost drivers. What are the causes of cost? Cost drivers means what are the causes of cost? Cost drivers may be machine hours, labor hours, etc. So the next step is to identify the cost drivers. Then we identify the cost pool. Cost pool means the total cost of each activity. Total cost of each activity. Okay. Fourth, we calculate the overhead absorption rate for each cost drivers. Then we calculate the activity cost driver rate. Cost driver rate. Then we calculate the total overhead for each product. Then overhead per unit. I think we have performed all these activities yesterday while we did an example. Right. First, what do? We identify the activities. The activities are already given in the question when we do a sum. Right. Then identify the cost drivers. For each activity, there must be different cost drivers. Say for machine related overheads, the cost driver will be machine hour rate. For labor related, it will be labor hour rate. For setup of machine, it may be setup the cost. For purchase, it will be purchase orders, number of purchase orders. or purchase requisition cost, it will be given in question. Okay, you have to identify that which is related to what. You have to identify which thing is related to which activity is related. You have to relate the activities and the cost drivers. Examples are given in 2.6. You should go through those examples so that you can relate the activities with the cost drivers. Then you will calculate the total cost of each activity. The total overhead cost. Total cost means total overhead cost for each activity will be given. Then we calculate what? Overhead absorption rate. This divided by this. Total cost of an activity. Total cost of an activity divided by cost drivers. Right? This will be the overhead absorption rate. Then the activity cost driver rate. Then we calculate activity cost driver rate. Activity cost driver rate is this. Then total overhead for each product. We multiply the number of units produced for each product with overhead absorption rate. We get total overhead for each product. Then lastly we calculate per unit. Total overhead divided by number of units is the total overhead rate. Right? So these are the steps involved in ABC. No doubts? Then the meaning of activities. We will go through what does the various things means. Meaning of activity: units of work or task. Activity comprises of units of work or task. Purchase of a material is an activity consisting a series of tasks like purchase requisition. For purchase it will be purchase requisition, advertisement inviting quotations, identification of suppliers, placement. Many things are to be performed when you want to purchase something, right? Similarly, so this means the activities. Value added activities. Value added activities means those activities which add value to the product, right? If an activity adds value to the product, it is a value activity. Then if an activity does not add value to the product, it is a non-value added activities. Example of non-value added activity will be non-value added activity will be moving of materials from the godown to the factory location, right? It will not add value to the product. Machine setup time, the time which you require to set up the machine, it does not add value to the product. Manufacturing activities can be classified along a cost hierarchy dimension consisting of unit level activities, batch level activities, product sustaining activities, and facility sustaining activities. We'll understand all the four activities now. Cost hierarchy dimension consists of four things. We'll understand them. Unit level activities. Then facility sustaining activities. These are the 4 types of activities. Unit level activities. Unit level activities means which are performed, activities that are performed whenever a unit of the product is manufactured. Say, what are the activities that you have to perform to manufacture a soap? All these activities will be unit level activities. Okay, unit level activities is proportionate. It will increase. Say, for one soap you have to perform A activity. For 2 soaps, what? A plus A. Right? So it will increase in proportion to the number of units produced. Unit level activities will increase in proportion to the number of units produced. Okay? Unit level activities, also known as volume related activities, are performed each time a unit of product or service is produced. Like examples are direct labor, direct material, energy cost, expenses that are consumed in proportion to machine processing times. Unit level activities consume resources in proportion to the number of units of production and sales volume. Typically the cost drivers for these are labor hours, machine hours, quantity of material processed. Okay, it is easy. Next we will learn about batch level activities. Batch level activities means to produce one time if you set up a machine, then it can produce 10,000 units. So after 10,000 units, what you have to do? You have to set up the machine again. Right? Set up the machine again for the next 10,000 units. So for this 10,000 units, it may be called a batch. Say procurement. First time you procurement purchase. First time you purchase 5,000 units of raw material. Okay? 5,000 units of raw material if you purchase, you get them at a price of say 5 rupees. So it is a batch. Next time you purchase 5,000 units. Are you sure that you will get it rupees 5? No. You might get it 5.5, 5.25, right? So the price at each, for batch level activities, the price within the batch remains the same, but the price differs when the batch differs, right? When you change the batch, the price differs. Next is, so we go through batch level activities. Batch related activities such as setting up of machine or processing a purchase order are performed each time a batch of goods is produced. The cost of the batch related activities varies within the number of batches, but it is common or fixed for all the units within the batch. Right, then we will go through product sustaining activities or services. Service sustaining activities are performed to enable the production or sale of an individual product or service. Maintenance of equipments, engineering charges, testing routines, maintaining bills of materials are few examples of those product level activities. Product level activities are if you do not keep your machine servicing, then it will become what? It may become bad. You may not be able to use it after some time. So then if you cannot use it, the machine, there might be idle time will be there. So to avoid such time, you have to maintain the machines after every now and then. So those activities comes under product sustaining activities. Then there will be the facility sustaining activities or business sustaining activities. Facility sustaining activities, the watchman. The watchman is common for all, right? But he is not related to anything. They are performed to support the facility's general manufacturing process and includes general administrative staff. Plant management and property cost. They are incurred to support the organization as a whole and are common and joint to all the products manufactured in the plant. The watchman outside is common to all the products manufactured inside the plant, right? And he is required so that there is no pilferage, there is no theft, someone does not burn your factory. So they are facility sustaining activities. So we have learned this: unit sustaining, unit level activities, batch level, product sustaining and facility sustaining. All four are clear, there is no doubt, right? Then we will do an example. Example 3. ABC company manufactures 3 products A, B and C. Data for the for the period just ended is as follows. Production units is 20,000, 25, 20, then 2,000. Sale price is given, material cost is given, labor hour per unit is given. Labor is paid at the rate of 5 rupees per hour. Then setup cost, this overhead cost is given. How much is the overhead cost? Overhead cost is how much? 1,70,000. Right. The machine, now the cost drivers are given. There are 4 cost drivers. Machine hour rate is given, number of setup is given, number of deliveries received is given, number of orders dispatched is given. Okay, based on these cost drivers we have to calculate the overhead per unit for A, B and C. So now first is calculate the cost and profit per unit, absorbing all the overheads on the basis of labor hours. On the basis of labor hours. A. Question A. What it is given? Calculate the cost and profit per unit. Cost and profit per unit. Absorbing all overhead on the basis of labor hour rate. So what do you think? We have to calculate the cost and profit per unit absorbing all overhead on the basis of labor hour rate. Is it in traditional costing or absorption costing? It is traditional costing, right? Because we are absorbing all overhead based on only one rate, labor hour rate. So we will calculate. Our total overhead is given 1,90,000. So total labor hours. Total labor hours. A, C. Labor hour per unit is we will make it this way. A, B, C. Labor hour per unit, how much? 2 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. So total labor hour is 40,000. 20,000 into 2, it will be 25,000 How much? $67,000. Total labor hours is 67,000. So overhead absorption rate. How much? We can consider it as 2.84, right? Almost 2.836. We will 0.5, so we will turn into 2.84. Overhead absorption rate is 2.84. So what is our overhead absorption rate? Now we will prepare what we are required to find out. We are required to find out cost and profit per unit. Cost and profit per unit. Statement of cost and profit for A, B, C. What is the selling price? Selling price how much? For A how much? No, per unit? Per unit? For A it is 20. For B? 20. Now, how much is the material cost? Material cost is 5, 10, 10. Then labor cost is how much? 2 hours, 5, 10 rupees, no? 5 into 2, 5 rupees and 5 rupees. 5 into 1, 5 into 1. Overhead cost is how much? 2.84. 2.84, right? So overhead rate will be different from previous. Overhead rate is how much? 2.8. Yeah, you see here, 2.84. Next page. Overhead rate is 2.84 into how much? Into 2. 2.84 into 1. 2.84 into 1. 2.84. 2.84. How much is it? 5.68. So cost per unit is how much? Cost per unit. 5, 10, 15, 20, 20.68. Right? 15, 17.84. This one, 17.84. So it will be profit per unit. Profit per unit how much? For A? Minus 0.68. Right? Here it is how much? 2.16. So you can question. We will go to the next question. Cost and profit per unit. Per unit absorbing overhead. Using ABC. Now we are required to use ABC. For using ABC, the activities and the cost drivers must be given. So you can see the cost drivers are given in the question. The cost drivers are machine hour per unit, number of setups, number of drivers received, and the number of orders dispatched. These are the cost drivers. So first is setup cost. What will be the cost driver for setup cost? Number of setups. So cost driver for setup cost is how much total it is. Setup cost is 90,000. And number of setups. Number of setups how much? 10, 13 and 2. 10, 13 and 2, 25. So setup cost per unit. Setup cost will be how much? Setup cost how much? 90,000 divided by 25 into 10. 36,000. 90,000 divided by 25 into 13. 46,800. And 90,000 divided by 25 into 2. 'Then setup for the second cost item is what? Receiving. Second is receiving. Receiving how much is the cost? 30,000. So what will be its cost driver? Number of deliveries received. How much deliveries are received? 10, 10, 2. Oh, sorry. 10, 10, 2. It will be 22. How much? 30,000 divided by 22 into 10. 13636. 13636. for this one. Two seven two eight. Then next cost is dispatch. Dispatch. For dispatch, what is the cost? 15,000. So what is the cost driver for dispatch? Number of orders dispatched. Number of orders dispatched. It is 60. So it will come 5,000, right? So total overhead cost for A, B and C will be one more is there, sorry. Okay, now machining is there, na? Okay, we will prepare machining here. A, B, C. Machining. What is the cost for machining? 55,000. So what will be the cost driver for machining? The cost driver for machining is machine hours cost driver for machining will be machine hours. How much machine hours total? Total machine hours 20,000 into 2. 20,000 into 2, 25,000 into 2, 2,000 into 2. It comes to how much? 94,000. So 94,000. For A it is 20,000. For B it is 25,000. For C it is 4,000. So what will be the overhead cost for A? 55,000 divided by 94,000 into 20. How much? How much? Come on. 55,000 divided by 94,000 into 20,000. Oh, sorry. Oh, 40,000. Sorry. 40,000. It will be 50. Sorry. It will be 40,000. 23404. For next one, for B it will be 55,000 divided by 94,000 into 50,000. 36,000 plus add 36,000 plus 13,000 plus 5,000 plus 23,404. 78 no wait a miss was 78,404 so 36,000 13,636 5,000 23,404 36 13,636 5,000 and 23,404 78,040 एटू किमान आएगा 29,256 प्लस 46,800 प्लस 13,636 13,636 प्लस 5,000 23,440 plus 7,200 plus 2,728 plus 5,000 2340 plus 5,000 plus 2,728 plus 7,200 7,200 2,728 5,000 2340 so these are our total cost okay number of units next total cost A total overhead cost কিমান আছে no 178040 94692 17268 so these are our overhead cost number of units 20,000 25,000 2,000 so overhead cost per unit for B for C okay so this is the total overhead cost so material cost is how much material cost is 5 10 10 5 10 10 labor cost is labor cost is how much 1055 cost per unit 18.90 18.78 15 plus 8 23 23.63 huh? This is how much? 20, 20, 20. 20, 20, 20. So, profit for A is how much? 3.9, 1.10. For B, so what do we see with this example? From this example, we get to know that the product C is a loss-making item, right? However, product A and B are profit-making items. This is as per ABC costing. But previous. As per traditional costing, what did it come? That A is a loss-making item, B and C are profit-making items. You can see that for C, the number of items manufactured was 2000 units. Number of items manufactured was 2000 units for C, and for A it was 20,000 units. So, as per traditional costing, the overhead allocated to C was very less, which has resulted in showing that it has a profit of 2.26, very high profit, 2.16. But actually, when we use the activity based costing and we drill down the things, then we come to know that actually it is a loss making item. It is not a profit making item. Only because the volume manufactured was less, volume was only 2000 as per traditional costing, it was showing that it is a profit making item, whereas A was shown as a loss making item. However, we come to know that A and B both are profit making items, however only C is a loss making item. So the company should decide whether to continue with C or to stop its production, right? So with this we have completed point 2.3. We will go through some 2.4 for today, and I think it will be enough. Cost pool and cost drivers. So by now I think this chapter we have already covered this chapter, right?
सर
हाँ हेलो बोलिए.
सर ये जो मशीन का जो ये अभी वैल्यू निकाले 23,404, ये फिर से बता दीजिए ना कैसे आया.
कौन सा?
ये मशीनिंग का वो जो आवर्स जो निकाला था 23,404, ये वाला. हाँ एक
ये वाला
नहीं सर, ऊपर मशीनिंग का उसका वैल्यू कैसे आया सर? वो
कौन सा? 94,000.
नहीं सर, 23,404.
इसमें नेक्स्ट 23,340 ये वाला.
सर नहीं, ये पहला वाला ये का 23,404.
ओ इसमें हाँ दिखाई दे रहा है 23,404 मशीनिंग. कैसे आया? आपने लेट क्लास ज्वाइन किया है लगता है ना?
नहीं सर,
समझ में नहीं आया. मनीष राइट?
यस सर.
मनीष. सो कैसे आया? मशीनिंग का टोटल है कितना? 55,000. टोटल ओवरहेड कितना है मशीनिंग के लिए? 55,000 राइट. टोटल मशीन आवर्स कितना लगा? 20,000 इंटू 2, 25,000 इंटू 2, 20,000 इंटू 2. टोटल मशीनिंग कितना लगा? 94,000. सो 23,404 कैसे आएगा? 20,000 इंटू 2 कितना है? 40,000 राइट.
ये यस सर।
ए के लिए कितना है 20,000 इंटू 2 40,000, बी के लिए कितना है 25,000 इंटू 2 50,000 एंड सी के लिए कितना है 2,000 इंटू 2
4,000।
राइट, ठीक है ना।
हाँ सर।
तो अभी ये ओवरहेड कैसे निकालेंगे हम लोग, सेम सब में, पहले वाला में हम लोगों ने कैसे निकाला, इसमें 36,000 कैसे निकाला हमने, आप ये बताइए मुझे। कैसे निकाला, आपको यहाँ समझ में आया हम लोगों ने 36,000 कैसे निकाला।
हाँ सर, वो इसमें 90,000 डिवाइड बाय
हाँ
25 इंटू
हाँ
इंटू 10।
राइट, अभी आप इसमें करिए सेम फॉर्मूला 55,000 करिए मनीष।
हाँ ये यस सर।
क्या करिए 55,000 डिवाइड बाय,
हाँ सर मिल गया।
मिल गया
55,000 94,000 इंटू
55,000
40,000
डिवाइड बाय 94,000 इंटू 40,000,
मिल गया सर।
ठीक है ना।
यस सर।
बाकी और कुछ डाउट है इसमें,
नहीं सर।
नहीं, तो हम लोग नया चैप्टर शुरू करते हैं, कॉस्ट पूल एंड कॉस्ट ड्राइवर्स। कॉस्ट पूल एंड कॉस्ट ड्राइवर्स। By now I think we all are well acquainted with these words. We have already done three units of this chapter, and in all the 3 units we have, except unit 1, in unit 2 and 3 we have spoken many times about cost pool and cost drivers. What are cost pools and what are cost drivers? Activity, cost driver, cost pool, we have studied all this. But however, this chapter explains in detail about cost drivers and cost pool. So the term cost pools are used to describe a location to which overhead costs are initially assigned. Normally, cost centers consist of departments, but in some cases they consist of smaller segments, such as separate work centers within the departments. So अगर हम एक डिपार्टमेंट कॉस्ट पूल, if we make one department as a cost pool, one department may function several activities. There will be many activities that a department performs. So if we make an entire department as a cost pool, this department, say the products manufactured by the company are A, B, C, D. So a department, say X, this X department and perform services P, Q, R, S. Now Q, R, S are the services which are common for A, B, C and D. Okay, but P, the service P is only applicable for A. This P service is not used for B, not used for C, or not used for D. So is it correct if we allocate all the activities B, P, Q, R, S to all the products A, B, C, D? Will it be correct? No. So we should directly charge the expenditure incurred for performing P to A, and for all other Q, R, S, the cost of Q, R and S should be apportioned to all the products A, B, C and D. Right. For this we will prepare a separate cost pool, P, Q, R, S. We will prepare a separate cost pool for P, separate cost pool, and Q, R, S For these things we will prepare another cost pool. We will prepare cost pool 1, we prepare cost pool 2. So you got my point? So this is cost pool. Cost allocations are then made from the cost pool. For example, cost of the machine department is accumulated in a cost pool and then allocated to those departments using its services. Cost pool are commonly used for the allocation of factory overhead to units of production. Various cost pools may be as under in a manufacturing industry. They are giving examples of cost pool. Book is giving us an examples of cost pools. What are examples of cost pool? Purchase department, purchasing department, then receiving department, then material handling. What do material handling do? Purchasing department will purchase orders. They will prepare the purchase orders. They will get the material for you. Then the receiving department will receive the materials and they will store it. The material handling will handle the materials and supply it to you using FIFO or LIFO. Supply using what? FIFO or LIFO or any other method that is applicable for their company, that is prescribed in their company. So they will use these methods and give you the materials. Setup, the machine setup. The machine setup will be another type of cost pool. Inspection and quality control, then research and development, customer service, production control. So these are few examples of cost pool. The book is given two diagrams. I think with these two diagrams we have already discussed in our earlier chapters. Activities, they are assigned to cost drivers, then the cost drivers are again assigned to products, right? And we have seen in our example also how in our previous example how the costs are allocated to cost drivers, and then from cost drivers they are allocated to the product. We then determine the cost per product to determine whether there is profit or there is loss, and then to decide the further course of action, whether how to reduce the cost, or we should continue with that product or not. Either we should stop manufacturing that product. Okay. Then we will learn about cost drivers. The next topic is cost drivers. Cost driver, it is a factor that causes a change in the cost of an activity. It is a factor that causes change in the cost of the activity. Categories of cost drivers: resource cost drivers. So there are few types of cost drivers. They are resource cost drivers, then activity cost drivers, then volume based cost drivers, then non-volume based cost drivers. So these are the type of cost drivers: resource cost drivers, activity cost drivers, volume cost drivers, and non-volume based cost drivers. So resource cost drivers, what are resource cost drivers? It is a measure of the quantity of resource. It is a measure of the quantity of resource consumed by an activity. It is used to assign the cost of resources and activity or cost pool. For example, number of purchase orders placed will influence the cost of materials to be purchased. Okay, resource cost driver. Then activity cost drivers. Activity cost drivers, it is a measure of the frequency of or an intensity of demand placed on activities by cost objects. Activity cost drivers can be transaction drivers, number of purchase orders, number of customers, as well as duration drivers. Activity may be units, or it may be in durations. Then volume based cost drivers. They assume that a product's consumption of overhead is directly related to units produced. That is, in case of machine hours, if volume is increased by 10%, machine hour will increase by 10%. Hence, energy cost will increase by 10%. Okay, volume based cost drivers. Then there will be non-volume based cost drivers. They are in contrast of volume based cost drivers. Non-volume based cost drivers are not performed each time a unit of the product or service is produced. Example, number of production runs for production scheduling and the number of purchase orders for the purchasing activity. Some cost drivers that are used in the context of activity based costing. They have given examples of, again they have given example of cost drivers. We saw the example of cost pools. Now we can see cost drivers. Number of requisition rows, number of machine setups, number of machine hours, labor hours, production runs, processed orders, purchase orders, orders completed. These are cost drivers that drive the cost. Then the next topic is cost object. Cost object. It is an item for which cost ascertainment is required. Item for which cost ascertainment is required is a cost object. For example, a product, a service, a job, a work order number, or a customer, etc. Generally, our cost object till now was a product. Till now we had been ascertaining the cost of a product. Application of ABC. The number of users of ABC system. There are many number of users. Some of the users you can see. What do? Till now we have seen all the users. We ascertain the price of the product. Then we see if the cost can be reduced. Whether to continue with the product or to discontinue it. Whether we should increase the production of a particular product to make more profit. So these are generally the uses of ABC costing. An ABC analysis will itemize the cost of each plant and correctly allocate this cost to the activities conducted within them, which allows a company to determine which plants are more efficient than others. An ABC analysis includes all activity costs associated with a manufactured item, which yields a comprehensive view of all costs associated with it and which can be more easily compared with the cost of similar items that is purchased. A company can create a benchmark for what these costs should be in potential acquisition targets. If the targets have higher cost than the benchmark levels, then the acquiring company knows that it can strip out cost from the acquisition candidate by improving. So these are the things which are written in the book, similar things. So we have come to an end of chapter 2.4. Chapter 2.5 gives us some merits and demerits. Merits and demerits of ABC. So by now I think you all can write at least 5 merits of ABC. Right? You can? At least 5 merits. Manish लिख पाओगे? Who is the other one? Mr. Nayak, Subhashree Nayak. लिखिए पड़ेगा. You can easily write the merits. However, we will see a few. ABC recognizes the increased complexity of modern businesses with its multiple cost drivers, many of which are transaction based rather than volume based. Okay? Transaction based rather than volume based. We saw that if there is volume, traditional costing will allocate more, but ABC costing will give you the correct results. ABC is concerned with all overhead costs, including such as non-factory floor cost as quality control and customer services, and so it takes cost accounting beyond its traditional factory floor boundaries. ABC gives a meaningful analysis of cost which should provide a suitable basis for decision about pricing, product mix, design and production. Right? It gives you a suitable basis for decisions about pricing, product mix. Decision about pricing means at what price you should price your product. Product mix means which products you should continue manufacturing and which products we should stop. Okay, and for which product your volume should increase, for which product you should reduce the volume. ABC helps with cost reduction. ABC will help you with cost reduction. You will identify the activities which consume the cost, and you will reduce the cost of the non-value added services. You will try to eliminate non-value added services, and you will also try to optimize the value added services. ABC can be used in conjunction with customer profitability analysis to determine more accurately profit earned by serving particular customers. So you will try to analyze which customers are your more profit giving customers, so you will focus more on them. ABC can be used by service and retail organizations. Many service and retail businesses have characteristics very similar to those required for successful application of ABC in modern manufacturing industry. So you can easily write at least 5 or 6 benefits of ABC if it comes in exam. So next we can see the demerits of ABC, and this will be our last topic. Next class I think we will do some of the practicals which are possible in class. Rest you can do at home. You can also try the practicals now at home because we have almost completed the concepts, and you can easily do the practicals at home. We will try to do few practicals in our next class, but I think by now the examples that we have solved, you please try at home, and you also try the questions that are given in 2.6. The cost of obtaining and interpreting the new information may be considerable. See, ABC is not cheap. To identify all the activities and to segregate them, and then you identify all the cost drivers, it is a time taking thing. So with time it also consumes your cost. You have to employ manpower, you have to analyze the cost. So it is new information, cost is considerable. Some arbitrary cost apportionments may still be required. Even if you use ABC, there will be some cost which you have to apportion arbitrarily, for which you cannot make a a basis. You cannot develop a basis, right? Many overhead relate neither to volume nor to complexity. There will be some overheads which does not relate to activities, which are not related to volume. So forming a basis becomes difficult. ABC tends to burden low volume product. It will burden low volume product with a punitive level of overhead cost. See, you saw the for in ABC, the C was burdened with huge overhead cost. Even if it is a low volume product and these are high volume product, it was you see the overhead cost for C was very high. You can see the overhead cost for C was very high, but the overhead cost for A and B were comparatively low. So ABC costing imposes punitive overhead on products which have low volume. Hence, opportunities for successful innovation if it is used without due care. So there may be risk that if you develop a new product to launch in the market, it will always show a loss in the initial stage because it has a very high overhead absorption rate, and it will show a loss for a longer period. So you may not be motivated to launch it in the market. It is very complex and it requires many calculations. So these are some of the demerits of activity-based costing. So we will take our next class on Monday. Monday we will go through all the practical subjects, and I think we will complete it within our target period of 3 days, right? So activity-based costing will be completed in 3 days in our next class in Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.